So here we are again for a Sjimi and Andreas show, SaaS show. Sjimi, we've been traveling around actually all week together, so it's a bit stupid that we didn't record it in person, but here we are.
You still want to talk to me, or you're done
Yeah,
with
it's
me?
okay. You're obviously in a better place than I am in the sun outside. Next time I should maybe also find a better place. Anyway, I want to address something that we see coming up, and I was actually meeting with a customer 2 days ago where it was also a discussion. And people start asking us now that engineering moves a lot faster, we see bottlenecks popping up on other places, for example, in the QA, but also on the product side of things, because the product team needs to work a lot faster to provide basically the information for an engineering team to be able to work faster with AI. So I think you guys did an experiment on Monday on one of our internal projects, and you said you were amazed. I'm more than happy
Yeah.
to hear more about that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's you heard it from a customer yesterday. I was talking about it with a customer as well about how do we deal with product management. And I think this is the place where I name drop. So internally we have built an application for birding. It's like the Pokemon of good birding. It's called Mossie. So do check it out, right?
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, you put the link in the show notes. But what we actually did on Monday was, together with the team that works on it, we did a session, like a product management brainstorm session, and we facilitated it with Speckit. So I don't know if people are familiar with it, but Speckit is like a specification-driven development approach. And before you would have developers, and I have to mention Bram here because I think Bram at madewithlove, like he came up with it. Not he didn't came up with it, but he found it. He used it in the past, and now we said like let's use it for a feature we wanted to develop. And basically, you get the scripts. It's officially from GitHub, so you have a bunch of scripts that normally you would walk through manually and you would fill in questions and all of that. But now you can just feed it to whatever model you are using. We use Claude, and it will actually guide you through the process of coming up with a feature specification. So instead of typically doing a product brainstorming session where you do post-it notes or somebody has to take notes, I think we were all very much engaged with the process, thinking the ideation. And we're just capturing our ideas, and then Claude would come back with questions like, have you thought about this? What about this scenario? These are potential edge cases. And I think it was, for me, I was really mind blown.
Did you do it in a group session, or how did that work?
Yeah, so we were 4 people, so all developers basically, and we were just doing it together. It was like mob product management, but then
so there was one person who had Claude open, and you were
yeah. So one person had it open. He was typing. Nowadays, you can even like do the whole voice thing, right? I've tried it this week as well. It's amazing. And in the end, we had a pull request with the specification, like the feature documentation. And I think last night I finally reviewed it. I had some small remarks, and basically it's like I would say the product and the engineering lives together. They work on the same thing, and it was such a nice, pleasant way of working together, I would say. So
yeah, that's cool.
Really, really interesting.
So the output, so basically you were 4 engineers making specification in a kind of conversational way, I guess. And so the result was a pull request with the specs to the repo for then it to be implemented by Cloud Code, I guess.
That's basically the handover document.
School is out, I can hear it, Sjimi. It's okay. It's a handover document for engineering, right?
Yep, exactly. And I think just the handover document, it's mostly focused on the product side, but obviously if you go a bit deeper, it will also help you think about architecture and how to approach it as well. So I think it's a really nice way of working together. And I think people should try it out. There's also I think there's a spin-off, or not a spin-off, but there's like another project which is called Speckit, and apparently that one is even more about facilitating the whole process of then integrating your code assistance, even having like a project board where you can, as the lead of the project, see what all the AI agents are going to do and work on a project. So definitely something I think people should take a look at to facilitate that process maybe in the future.
Yeah, that sounds very cool. One of the things I've seen passing by this week actually is Apple, right? Apple is doing, of course, very good hardware, but they are more or less missing the boat on AI, I guess. And obviously what Apple is also very known for is their App Store, right? Where they basically have some kind of guardrails or how do you call it? Like they have approve all the applications, right? Google does this as well, but I think at a different level. And I think one of the things that Apple has always been very careful of is making sure there is no crap in the App Store. Obviously, European Union is trying to find ways to avoid that. But actually, yesterday they announced that they are going to stop accepting applications that are submitted by Replit. I think Replit is like an AI app generation thing, right? Which is of course killing the whole idea of vibe coding Apple or iOS apps, more or less. And I think it's interesting to see because they are very, very strict on this, I guess. And actually, in the same day, there was a ruling by a US court that basically Apple is allowed to decide for themselves with or without a cause if they can remove apps from the App Store as well. So basically, they still own it. But it's interesting for me to see that they take these kind of measures. And it actually comes, the reason is that for what I understand, I guess Replit makes it in Flutter or React Native or something like that. I don't exactly know. I should have researched it before mentioning this, but basically, in the past, also you had these platforms that allowed to do over-the-air updates, right? And Apple would reject that as well because they want to review the code and they want to make sure that you cannot push anything that they haven't reviewed. I think what they found is that with Replit, they can do over-the-air updates, which is something that they don't like. So that's the reason why it was why they stopped accepting that application. But I think it's an interesting move, and it for me shows that Apple still really cares about the quality of things, and they want to keep the App Store clean. And we've seen, of course, a massive rise, I guess, in apps that have been submitted. But yeah, it's interesting that they are still playing a gatekeeper role there. Gatekeeper, that was the
I
word
think
I
they
was looking
must.
for.
I think they must do it because the influx must have been too high and the quality of what came in must have been too bad. I think if good application that would make them money as well, they wouldn't necessarily put a stop to it. But I guess the low barrier means like a lot of applications get shipped, but not with really like a lot of value to it for them.
I wonder how long they will be able to keep up with it, because that's especially with the European Union having forced a secondary market more or less for apps. So you can install apps now without the App Store on iOS. That will make basically that people will start moving around the App Store more and more, I guess, which makes that they lose control. So yeah, I think it's interesting move. And yeah,
should we be careful to put this on Apple Music podcast now?
It's okay.
Cool.
No, I know people at Apple well, man. Cool.
Okay, I think
we can end with that. I think Sjimi, enjoy the sun, and see you in 2 weeks.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.